Hello and welcome to Gauntlet's Race Mod. It's been a couple of weeks since I did a video. Been working on the Zerhan Nexus, which is these guys that we'll be showing today, as well as the Minbari ship set that I showed off last time. Still working hard on that, basing all of the designs on artwork and 3D renders that people have done online and such. Pretty happy with how things are going. Some of the ships are really great, some not so much. I think I'm a better originator than I am a recreator. Some people are really fantastic at that. I've been finding it really hard to focus on recreating other people's ships, though. So we'll see how that goes. That'll probably be the next video, guys. Almost done with that set, almost done with the Minbari. They just need cargo ships. Today we're going to be going over the Zerhan Nexus, and yeah, so let's dive into this. First up, we have the Scout. Well, the very tiny model Scout. Now, if you've seen the previous ZN showcase video, you've more or less seen this guy. Okay. Then we have the other tinies, and I'm grouping these ships a bit differently than before rather than go one by one, because really the only difference here are the weapon mounts. So that's a kinetic. Then we've got our beam, kind of like these, I don't know, lightning cannon things. I imagine they shoot lightning because they're pokey. And then you've got your missile launcher, which could also do as a kinetic, I suppose, but yeah, meant to be missile. So there you go. You're going to see those weapons throughout the set. Those are your tiny. Then we've got our small. This one here is our balanced. Got those two big prongs. Got a kinetic cannon on top. He's got a beam thing kind of built into the front hull. And two missile pods on the sides there. Of course, you've got your kinetic, your beam, your missile. Just the various turrets. So yeah, let's get a good look at that turret design. There you go. With the little ocular piece on the left there spinning around. I'm also doing a new type of animation for these guys. They're very vertical, so I didn't want them really wobbling like I usually do. So they're staying straight up, but they are moving in the X dimension as well as the Y dimension. It's kind of this floating pattern. Different than what I usually do. They're not moving forward at all, which is interesting. They're really only moving side to side and such. Alrighty, and then we've got our small explorer. Also interesting, played around with engine formats on this race quite a bit. I mean, that one's not quite so interesting, but you're going to see it on the bigger ships here. We're going to skip medium for a second, go to cargo. Here is our constructor with his little mechanical arms there. This was some of the very first animation I ever did. Still pretty happy with how that came out, so I didn't really see much reason to change it or anything. It's also got these little poles going up and down over on top, which I like. Yeah, really happy with this design. I love these guys constructors. They set sort of the tone for the whole race. I also updated their color scheme a little bit so that they're a little bit bluer to go along with the rest of the race. And their screen. In fact, let's go to diplomacy. You can kind of see them up there. So there you go. That's the Zerhan. And they're in the other videos too. These guys are capitalists who are malevolent. So yeah, they're kind of the mirror image of the Iridium in a sense. I mean, granted, the Iridium are not benevolent; they're pragmatic. But you know, the Iridium are so fair-minded, I think, that they are absolute capitalists and they love the free market, but they're not jerks about it. Whereas my guys, yeah, they're jerks about it. They're all about ambition and really nothing else. You know, kind of the similar, in some ways, similar values to, you know, ancient societies like the Romans are classically known to have been just ambition is everything. The Zerhan are very similar, and they very much project power, soft power specifically. They think it's more artful to overwhelm your opponent without direct conflict. So while they're certainly not opposed to war, war involves a lot of big risks for a lot of individuals. You know, there's some people are unfortunately going to be the foot soldiers. The Zerhan are not keen on that sort of activity because each and every one of them wants to get higher rank. And being a frontline soldier sounds like a crappy job. So basically, Zerhan society is all about positioning, and direct conflict is often the luxury of the winners. Once you've gotten direct power, once you've gotten enough power, you can really, really push aside your previous rivals and basically send them to the poorhouse. So yeah, the Zerhan are they're an interesting bunch. They're good influencers, and yet I also set them to be xenophobic. All right, here's the colony ship. Same overall design, but I embedded the colony pod there. I really like that look too. I think that looks pretty cool. Then we've got our transport, hugging a big giant rock that it will float into orbit and then just let go. So it's giving that a nice big hug. And then we have our drone carrier. Really like the drone carrier. I really like the format. I like the fact that the fighters are kept in a circular formation, so to speak. This is also one of the more interesting profiles I've ever done. You are going to notice some nautical themes with these guys. They kind of have a nautilus look to them, or you know, some sort of shellfish in a sense, but not too extreme. And there you go. That's an interesting engine format where they're both going from longer to shorter, but also from smaller to bigger. Alrighty. Now we're going to go over to the mediums. So we'll start with our survey ship. Two big radar dishes embedded in the front. Some energy pods, some antenna, and just a couple of beam weapons. Lots of little engines there. Got your spiky bits, this big giant capital T ship. Again, try to keep very, very vertical with these guys. Alright, and then we have our missile ship, which was based off the same design. So just replacing a lot of the gear with some various sized missile pods. And then we have the rest of the mediums. You've got your balanced, your kinetic, your beam in here. This was the original design of these guys, so this one also sets the tone. Yep, really happy with how these came out. They're pretty much the same, except I played with the angles of the spiky bits, which is fine. Alrighty, and now moving on to the large. The large, yeah, I was not creative with the large at all. This is why I'm doing the group picks. That's your balanced. It's got a mixture of turrets. I am really happy with the engine format, and again, the shell-like appearance of these guys. Maybe if I have more time, I can get back to giving this particular part of the set more variety. But for now, it is absolutely good enough. I was simply too distracted by all the news coming out about E3, and oh my goodness, the stupid little iPhone game for Fallout, the Fallout Shelter game, if you haven't heard about that. It's pretty fun if you like addictive little iPad or iPhone games. That has been eating up way too much time, so I need to wean myself off of that and get back to making ships. Alright, so there you go, you've got the larges. Only note here is you do have some variety with the support ship here. I changed up the whole format on the sides a little bit. You can kind of tell it doesn't have those big platforms anymore. And same goes for the carrier, which carries 6 fighters, 3 and 3 on each side. Alright, moving on to the huges. Let's start with the carrier for these guys. There you go. These guys have we're returning to that sort of multi-angular, semicircular formation, which I like. He's got your little flying guys, of course, with him. And yeah, got these nice little docks. Kind of just holding the guys in place. Got some antennas. Yeah, overall, I'm liking it. I'm digging it. Again, really having fun with the shell-like aspects of these guys and the engines. And then you've got the rest, which are all using the same base model. And really just the weapon mounts and the spiky bits, or lack of spiky bits, are what's differentiating them. So that I can quickly tell which ship is which. So, in front here, we've got a balanced with one missile pod in the middle, a bunch of kinetic emplacements in the front, and of course beam turrets all along the sides. There you go, good side profile shot. The next one's kinetic, then you've got beam, then you've got missile. The missile one did change up the side pylons quite a bit. Actually added on some extra missile engines for fun. So there you go, guys. That's the Zerhan Collective. I'm sorry, they're the Zerhan Nexus. Shouldn't have said Collective. Next up should be finishing the Minbari. And then we got a couple other races to go, but we are nearing July. And when July comes, at some point, we're getting version 1.1, I hear. So once that happens, Steam Workshop becomes available, and I will work very hard at getting all the mod files in order and getting this out to you guys. So thanks so much for listening. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Feel free to comment. I try to answer all comments. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Talk to you later.